red flag is that you don't take your internal state seriously. This is one of the biggest ones. Oh my goodness. If you trade while you're tired and you're agitated and you're distracted, or you had a really bad trading day and you treat it like it doesn't matter, that is a red flag. And it's because your internal state is part of your edge. It literally is the edge, BTW. Everybody knows support and resistance. Everybody knows supply and demand. Trading is not just the charts. Your edge is literally who you are as a person. It's either calls or puts. It's really not that much of a complicated system. It's who you're being. So yes, your internal state is literally your edge. If you don't check your momentum internally, you're gambling your execution. And trading is not just the charts, it's decision making under uncertainty. Either your nervous system is stable enough to do it or it isn't. But if you wouldn't trust yourself to make huge life decisions while you're in that type of state, why would you trust yourself with capital in a trading account? It doesn't make sense. Neutrality is not a luxury, it is a requirement of your trading. Red flag number five is you're trading to feel something. This one is super silent, but a lot of people trade to feel powerful and feel like they're active and feel like they're doing something, or maybe you're just bored, or maybe you feel some type of stress and you just want to see some green numbers on your screen. All of that is a red flag. Gray, black, and white. And what that's helped me to do is one, be way more profitable, more than I ever could have understood how deeply the colors were affecting my trading. But also, even on your candlesticks, don't make them red and green. Change the colors of your candlesticks. It's going to help you so much to emotionally regulate. If you haven't tried that before, I definitely suggest that you turn off your colors. So, yes, all of that is a red flag because now trading is regulating your emotions. I talk about this in my videos all the time, but once trading becomes emotional regulation, your account is no longer a priority. You're going to try to get your feelings to feel better under any means necessary, including wasting and blowing an account. And that is not a neutral operating system, and professional and consistent execution comes from I trade when my setup is here, not I'm trading because I feel like it's time to trade and I feel like I'm just bored and I feel like I need to win and I feel like I need to, I feel all that. It's not gonna please. Needing a feeling is a structural flaw, but you can fix it. Red flag number six is you confuse activity with progress. You think that more screen time, more trade, more lives, more session, more charts are going to all equal better trading, and they simply do not. Actually, 99% of the time, from what I've observed, it makes your trading worse because now you're reinforcing something you don't want to do. Now you're reinforcing noise. You're reinforcing unnecessary information because, again, you already know how to trade. You're training your system to associate busy with profit. And you think that that is being productive, and it's really not. What's actually productive is sitting out and waiting and passing on trades that look good but not that good are B plus, C plus, and you want to just take A plus, whatever your rules are. And so that is what helps you protect your capital and protect your neutrality. You're in the game of protecting your neutrality. You get paid for doing that. You get paid for being patient. You get paid to protect your neutrality and your humility. Red flag number seven is your identity is attached to being correct. So if being right matters more than trading cleanly, then when your trade fails, you're going to defend a bad trade instead of studying them. That tells me your ego is in the process. And ego is so expensive in the trading markets. And trading requires you to detach from the outcome, detach from identity, detach from proving anything. And the moment that you need to be right, you're going to fight the market, and the market charges tuition for the hassle, period. That's why you will pay market tuition for the same mistake 10,000 times, and the market doesn't care. There's no limit on how many times you can pay for a mistake. And this is exactly why most traders do not ever actually fix their problem. You think you're fixing it because you think your problem is entry and setups and knowledge, and it's not. Your real issue is lack of structure and never paying attention to your internal state. If you want, I break down the full operating structure I use personally And for my students, I broke it all down inside of my private training. It is the first link in the description box. It is free to watch how to build neutrality, building a system to where that urgency actually never appears, and how to stop. And it's not because you want to lose. Nobody obviously wants to lose. Obviously, you're not trying to make yourself lose. But it's because your nervous system is more comfortable with that intensity versus neutrality. All the intensity that you feel around that instability is what your body is used to. And calm feels so boring to you. But boring is often where the consistency lives. Number nine, you don't have structural protection against urgency. If one red creates pressure, if one loss makes you feel behind, if one drawdown changes your behavior, it's not a mindset issue. You can say it is, but that's not surface level. It's actually the structure underneath it. It's most likely that your risk is wrong, and it might be right for your account and wrong for your nervous system. Have you taken that into account? Ask yourself that. It actually might be wrong for your psychology. I see this with my students that have margin accounts and leverage. Because you're allowed to have leverage doesn't mean that you can automatically handle it. So if urgency is appearing, your nervous system is telling you this is too much for me to process. I can't handle all of this. And instead of trying to force through it, that's actually inflammation. And ignoring it is very expensive. And the market will charge you tuition for that every single time, okay? And number 10, you don't respect neutrality as a skill. Most day traders respect entries and setups and strategies and indicators and blah, and very few respect neutrality as a skill. But neutrality is a skill. It is trained, it is protected, it is structured. If you treat neutrality like something that you can just have over time, it'll naturally come to you. You're going to lose in the moment when pressure appears. And AKA, it's always going to appear because that's the market that we're in. And neutrality is not a personality type, it's your environment plus sizing plus habits plus internal discipline. That is the formula. That's what it is. So, the real truth I want you to take with you is that most blown accounts and all of your blown accounts were emotionally doomed before the trade even happened. The trade was just the trigger. That's it. If you realize, if you recognize even two or three of these red flags in yourself, that's not a judgment. It's literally an opportunity because the markets are going to open every single day except for holidays and maybe even the weekends, depending on your market. You have plenty of chances to start doing this today, start becoming aligned today, and change your results forever. And awareness means you can change. If you're aware that you have some of these red flags, you can change them. You don't actually need to be perfect to be profitable. You just need to be aligned. You don't need to be fearful, just neutral. That's it. But neutrality is built. It's not something you hope for. It's not something that naturally shows up as time passes and you're going to have it when you hit 1 year. It's not going to happen that way. You have to intentionally do what I'm saying in this video. So if you want to learn how to build a trading structure that removes urgency, stabilizes your behavior, and keeps you neutral after losses, that is what I teach in the private training. It is free. It is like 15 minutes and it will change how you think about trading. It's the first link in the description. All you need to do is enter your email to get access and you can watch it for free. Welcome to today's live trading session. I was in loss about 7% today and really shouldn't have been trading anyways because I know that FOMC is tomorrow. If you don't know what FOMC is, it is essentially a huge economic event that is a statement for the federal government. And so when big news happens, um, there's normally some really weird price action the days before. So today is Tuesday, so there was really weird price action yesterday and today. Like normal setups just didn't play out the way they're supposed to. So I'm going to talk about what happened today. I used the 1 hour and the 4 hour. Well, first let me preface this by saying I've taken two losses in a row, and what that's telling me is that I need to kind of go back to the drawing board and really renew my mindset with how I approach trading. It's very easy to get by with your sloppy trading when you're kind of just good at charting. I'm going to say something so simple, but if you actually want to survive long enough to make money in options trading, in futures trading, in whatever market you trade, you have to learn how to end on a good note. Not a high note, not when you start to feel invincible and you start to feel super successful and you have this ego about you. Not end when you're all hyped up and you're feeling like you're the smartest person in the earth. I'm telling you right now, if you do not learn how to stop trading, you will never be able to make it. Because money is a reward. Money is the reward that you get for your patience, for your skill, for your knowledge. Ego is not your reward. And I'm going to tell you that your bills don't take ego as a form of payment. Neither do your credit cards or any of your expenses. And most traders don't lose because they don't know how to make money. You know how to trade. They lose because they don't know how to stop making trades. You just don't know when to stop trading. And that's what this specific video is going to be all about. If you're interested in hearing what I have to say, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like this video because we're not talking about entries, we're not talking about strategies, we're not talking about indicators or charts because you already know how to trade. It's about learning where to stop. I often hear this with my students in application after application for my coaching. So it's about learning where to stop and more importantly, learning why thus far you might have refused to stop. You just feel like you just can't stop. There's this invisible pull that's been pulling you into trades. I'm going to break this video down into sections. This first section is titled The Skill That Nobody Talks About. You have to watch the whole video to get the full idea. But there's a skill that nobody talks about in trading. It is not risk management, although I make videos on that too. I think it's super important, but it's also not discipline. It's not patience. I've made videos about all of these things, but what's so much more important is the ability to stop trading when you're already in profit. I don't really ever see traders that don't know how to trade. It's that they make a lot of money, they make profit, and it sounds really ridiculous, but then they just lose it all. And most accounts were blown just from already losing. They were blown from winning. You blow an account means you're losing money. You can't lose money you didn't make. So you made money and then you went and lost it. So people are making money. It's happening every single day, and then they're giving that money back to the market, and sometimes a little bit more than you would like to. Then you make more, and then you give that back too. So eventually, what's going to happen is you hit a drawdown that is so deep, and you collapse psychologically, and you start to force trades to get that money go back green. We're going to avoid all this because the real question is not how do I make money? Because you already have a strategy and you already know how to make money because you already know how to trade. The question is how do I keep myself from undoing what I already made in the market? How do I keep the profit that I have already secured? The profit that's already mine? And the answer is not more rules. The answer is not more willpower. You cannot willpower yourself to securing more money. The answer is not more motivation and more speeches and more talks. It's about learning the one skill nobody talks about, which is learning how to end on a good note. I can make 50 videos about this one topic, but we're going to go into section number 2 to break it down a little more deeply, which is money is the reward, not your ego. If we are being really brutally honest, most of you are not trading for money. You might think you are, you might be telling yourself you are, but you're not. You're trading for emotional resolution. It sounds like a big word, but you're just trying to resolve your emotions through trading, right? You're trading to feel an emotion. You're trying to feel right. You're trying to feel smart. You're trying to feel powerful. You're trying to redeem yourself, feel like you're in control. And that's why you don't stop because you need to resolve that emotion and you're choosing to do it through trading. And when you stop trying to trade, it feels like you're quitting on the emotion that you're trying to resolve. And stopping feels like a literal weakness. Stopping feels like you're leaving something on the table, which is not true because your bills, the expenses you're required to pay every single month, do not care about any of that at all. Your landlord does not accept confidence as a form of payment. Chase, Amex, Wells Fargo, Navy Federal, no credit card company is going to accept good intentions. Oh, I tried to keep my profit. I tried. No. The grocery store, Publix and Kroger are not going to accept vibes as a form of payment. They take money, they take dollars. So in trading, I want you to remember that trading is not about anything else besides money being the reward. So every time you keep trading, after you said you would stop, you are choosing ego over income. That's it. So that's the trade you're actually making. The third section I want to discuss is that trading is 180 degrees of what feels good. 180 degrees means reverse. So here's what most people get wrong in trading. Most traders, they try to trade the way that most people live. In life, optimism is rewarded. Positive thinking helps you. It keeps you in a good spirit, a good vibration, a good frequency, right? You want to focus on the things that motivate you, and you want to focus on that silver lining, the sunset, right? In life, being pessimistic feels very toxic, but in trading, it's literally the opposite. And when I learned this actually in business, but I applied it to trading and it works here too. Because if you try to be optimistic in trading, you're going to die. If you think every trade's going to work in your favor, you're going to die. If you ignore the downside in trading, you're going to die. If you only focus on what could go right, you're going to die. This is how business works too. So in trading, survival comes from pessimism, not emotional pessimism of thinking negative about yourself, not being depressive or whatever. It comes from structural pessimism. If you don't know what that means, look it up. The constant awareness of what could go wrong. And I'm going to tell you from experience as an active trader, it feels very bad. It feels restrictive. It feels like somebody's telling you what to do. And that's the point why we want to trade for freedom, right? But when we have to use this type of logic to make money, it feels limiting and restrictive. But that's why it works. It's literally why it works. So I'm going to explain this deeply. In section number 4, why pessimism feels wrong. Okay? Most of you subconsciously reject pessimism, which is okay. because we're taught that we need to have good thoughts, good vibrations, whatever. And the reason why you do this is because you associate it with negativity, because that's what we're taught to do. You think that if I focus on the downside, then I'll manifest losses. I used to think like this before I was profitable. No, if you ignore the downside, you guarantee your losses. And I need you to write that down. There's a very big difference because in trading, pessimism is not a mindset. It's not a negative mindset. It's not a mindset at all. It's an account survival tool. Your account will blow up if you do not think like this, or if you keep rejecting thinking like this. If you keep rejecting it, it's going to happen, right? It's the thing that tells you, I've made enough money today. I'm going to stop. You just had two great large trading days in a row. Stop trading. It tells you you're emotionally elevated right now. You need to stop. You're up for the month, you're up for the week. Stop trading. And this is where profits start to lock in for you. Section number 5, I want to discuss gratitude and pessimism are the same coin. Have you ever heard of pessimism and gratitude and thought they were different? They're not opposite. They're two sides of the exact same coin. They are the same coin. They're the same thing. Gratitude says, I'm thankful for what I made in trading. Pessimism says, I'm aware of what I could lose. They're the same side. They're two different sides of the same coin. So they both lead to the same behavior, which is stopping. Doesn't matter what side of the coin you use. If you use either side, you're going to stop. If you're grateful for what you made, you stop. If you're aware of how fragile your profits are, then you stop, especially when you understand that if you haven't sent that money to your bank account, it's still not realized. But they only work together. Those two things only work together because you cannot be grateful and reckless at the same time. You cannot be pessimistic and overconfident at the same time. I get comments on my YouTube channel all the time. I lost money because I was overconfident. That can't exist with that at the same time. The next thing I want to talk about is why you can't stop trading when you're already up. You already made money and you can't stop. This is really the real problem, and I want to talk about this because why can't you stop when you're green? If you've already made money, why can't you stop? And I hear it all the time as the word greed. I used to call it greed. It's not really greed. It's attachment to feeling like you're winning. And you can't feel like you're winning if you stop. You're attached to feeling of being in sync with the market. You're attached to the feeling of being right. You're attached to the feeling of today is my day. I'm making so much money. And you never want that feeling to stop. So you keep trading. Eventually the market will close anyways. So if the market's gonna close anyways, then you're gonna have to stop at some point. But even when the quality of a setup drops, even when your emotional state is gonna shift, and even when your rules say that you should stop, you don't stop because it feels too good to stop. And that's exactly why you should stop. Some people think there's never enough. And this is the part that nobody really wants to hear, but I'm going to say it anyways, is that there's never enough in trading. No amount of money will ever make you feel complete. If you make $500 today, you'll want $1,000 on your next trade. If you make $1,000, you'll make $2,500 on your next trade. If you make $5,000, then you'll just simply want $10,000 on the next trade. That desire is never going to end. Don't you understand that? So if you don't consciously set your own limits, which means to think about it, consciously set your own limits, the market will set them for you and charge you market tuition for the hassle. It will. And it's going to set them violently and charge you market tuition for that. And you don't want to pay market tuition when you already know how to trade. So the hidden reason that you overtrade, I want to discuss this too. You do not overtrade because you love trading. You overtrade because you do not trust yourself to be done and to stay off the charts. You think when you close the charts, you'll probably open them back up. You don't actually believe within you that that was enough for today. You actually believe I should make more while it's working because tomorrow there might not be a setup. Next week there might not be a setup. If I'm making money now, I gotta stay in and make more money. And This is the belief that is going to literally kill you because markets don't care about your momentum. This happy go lucky ride that you're on, they don't care. They don't care that you're feeling hot. They don't care that you're locked in. They don't care. They will flip on you whenever they feel like it. And especially if you're feeling hot, feeling all this stuff, you're not going to see it when the flip is there. You're going to be blinded. So don't blind yourself. Ending on a good note means this: you stop while you still feel good. You don't stop when you feel euphoric and your ego is on a million and you're on cloud 10, right? Not when you feel invincible and like you're Superman or Superwoman. You just quit when you feel satisfied and you feel good and you feel calm and you feel neutral. This is something no person this is something a lot of people can't even do in their real lives because that emotional state is the one thing that is going to carry you forward cleanly into your next trades. That's the state you want to start tomorrow from. You do not want to start trading that next trade or that next trading day from hype and desperation and regret and all these other things because guess what? You're going to lose your money. And like I said before, your account balance is not your money until you send it to your bank account. It's not realized yet. So this is why this is a psychological skill. It has nothing to do with money at all. It has everything to do with identity. Who are you when things are going really well? When you've had 4 wins in a row? Are you someone who can actually stop and actually decide to not trade that next day to give yourself a break to breathe? Or do you always push? Do you always need to brute force? Right? That answer to that question is going to determine your equity curve, aka how much money you leave with as your P&L at the end of the month. Your bills do not take ego as a payment. And I'm going to say it again because it matters. And I don't want to say it once and let it slip. Your bills do not take ego as transaction. You can feel like a genius and still be broke. I see it. You can feel like you crushed it and still give it all back tomorrow. The only thing that matters is what you keep. The only thing that matters is the amount of money that is in your P&L at the end of the week and at the end of the month. I want to talk about the real definition of discipline. Discipline is not taking trades. Discipline is stopping. Discipline is not brute forcing it when you know you need to stop. And that's the part that you might not want to practice and you might not feel like it's necessary for you. Because stopping, again, feels like weakness. It feels like you're leaving money on the table. But what you're actually leaving on the table is future loss. You're literally just leaving your losses on the table and taking your money. Wouldn't you want to do that? And I want to explain why this is so hard. And it's hard because trading is going to hijack your dopamine. Winning feels amazing if you let it. Being right feels amazing if you let it. I had to stop letting those things feel amazing to me. Seeing green numbers feels amazing. I don't even have colors on my trading platforms. I turned all of it to white, black, and gray, right? Because what happens is when you see all of those things, your brain doesn't want that to end. It invents and convinces you to have reasons to keep trading. I've heard it from the mouth of my students. It's still a good setup. I'm in the zone. I can make more. I'm already on momentum. Those are not rational thoughts. Those are dopamine protective thoughts. So your body and your brain can keep rolling on dopamine. But actually, the reward is money. You don't need ego or dopamine. You need the money. So this is the survival reframe I want to give you that's going to probably likely change everything if you want to apply it. Your job is not to make money in trading. Your job is to survive. Simply, your money that you make, money is the byproduct of survival. And every time you protect your account, you win. You're not leaving money on the table, you're leaving your losses on the table. Here is a practical application where you may have been waiting for. Here's what this actually looks like in practice. Imagine this. So you make money, you start to feel good, and then you stop. That's it. There's not much else to it, and then you can bank the money and go spend it. Not, I want to take one more trade. I need one more dollar. I'll reduce my risk so that I can just convince myself I should keep trading. If I'm not risking as much as I usually do, I'm being safe. It's not that you're just gonna watch it and wait to enter. You're just gonna keep looking at the charts. No, just close the laptop and stop. And why gratitude fixes over trading is because it's a mechanical thing. It is spiritual, but it is also mechanical. Gratitude literally says, "This is enough." That sentence alone would save most accounts and could literally save every loan account from never happening to you in the future, or at least reduce them by 50 to 75%. The truth I want you to hear is you do not need more trades. You need better trades. You need better endings to your trades. That's something you really should work towards in this year of 2026. And I put together a private training that you can watch right now. It is the first link in the description box. I show you how to actually set up real stopping points that actually work, that you can walk away with three things you can implement immediately to your trading to apply everything you just watched in this video. So one good day doesn't turn into a drawdown. Join me there and I'll walk you through the full lesson for free. Once we walk through the free lesson, I'll also show you how to do this for yourself every single day, and you'll be able to learn how to implement this for yourself for real forever. So learn how to end on a good note, and it will change your entire trading life. Or just taking a second to wonder why you keep losing, even when you know what you're doing as a day trader. It is not your strategy or your charts. It is how you show up as a trader. And this is one shift that changed everything for me, and it could change everything for you as well. Do me a favor and save this video to your watch later, because if something happens in the next 10 to 15 minutes and you don't get to finish watching this video, I want you to remember to come back to it. So go ahead and add it now. And before we dive in, hit subscribe so you don't miss content like this. This is exactly the kind of strategy and mindset that keeps you profitable month after month. You already know how to trade. I know that sounds insane to hear, especially if you're frustrated with losing months right now. But if you actually take 2 seconds and really sit with me, you've made winning trades before. You understand market structure. You know how to calculate your risk to reward. You know what it looks like to make money. You've literally marked up your charts and made setups and they've worked out for you. So if that's all true, why do you keep ending the month negative? The thing is that it's not your strategy. It's not the charts. It's not needing more money or more leverage or more margin or more deposits into your account. It's legit only how you show up as a trader. And I want to give you a real life example. There was a trade that was absolutely perfect. A plus setup. Everything was aligned, like A through Z. And the risk management was dialed in, the entry was perfect, and then political news happened, and the setup was invalidated. The trade wasn't wrong. I didn't make a mistake. It was invalidated by something I can't control. And so I shrugged, and I didn't panic, and I accepted it. I didn't try to win the money back. I just moved on. And I only found out that it was political news later that night when I just so happened to be talking to a friend, and I was like, oh my gosh, Trump is crazy. Literally no. The very next day, a trade that was a third of the size made me over 300% gain, which was more than that trade I made the previous day could have ever made me. And it was only because I was mentally aligned. I wasn't trying to fix anything. I didn't let my ego take over. I simply was trading the rules I know that work. And that's the first lesson. And by the way, there's no trade that's safe from a misaligned trader. You can have an A plus setup and still mess it up. So you actually don't need a perfect setup or more leverage or more fancy tools. What you need is clarity, discipline in the right way, and the ability to trade like the version of you who already has the profits. And I'm going to walk through exactly how to do this in this video. And I want you to think about it in this way, right? Think about your most profitable version of you who never ends the month in red. Think about the version of you that is watching the video right now. What's the difference? I'm going to tell you, both versions know the same strategies. You both know the same risk management. You both know when to step away. You both know all the knowledge there is to be known. There are small nuances you'll learn along the way, but for the most part, if you make profitable trades, you're fine, right? The difference is the behavior of both traders when the market goes against you. Do you spiral and let one trade turn into 10, or do you pause and wait and treat every trade like it's its own trade? And it's the fact that you can actually get yourself to behave like the profitable version of you right now, today, as I'm speaking to you right now. It's not luck or magic, it's literally awareness in action. It doesn't have to be airy fairy. You can literally grab a sheet of paper right now and I'll walk you through it. I want you to write down 10 things you already do currently in your trading. And I want you to write down 10 things you currently do correctly. And here's some examples. You know how to read market structure, high probability setups, you know where your stop loss should go, you understand position sizing, you've made a profitable trade before, you know when to walk away, you know when to do good risk, you know how to manage your mistakes, you know how to check the news, all that. Great. You made the list. I want you to look at that list of 10 things you just wrote. Pause the video if you need to. Is that list literally not everything a profitable trader needs? So if you already have all those things, why are you not profitable? The truth is that profitability is not based on knowledge. It's only based on alignment. And until you start acting like the version of you who's already profitable, knowledge is just information. The knowledge in your head is not going to turn into dollars. The knowledge in your head is not going to turn into results. And that's what most traders miss because you're focusing on a setup and the next trade and rules, and you don't focus on becoming and maintaining the trader who naturally executes properly every time. And that is exactly what we're going to fix. That is what I fix on my channel. So subscribe if you haven't already. Once you align your behavior with the profitable version of yourself, all of the things you don't want to do disappear naturally. The revenge trading, the chasing the candles, the forcing the trades, adding more money to your account, blowing your account, and all that stuff, right? But what happens is you start to follow the setups you know that work, and you build a consistent compounding mindset that keeps you in the green. And the catch is that your account cannot make you profitable. You make the account profitable. Because money doesn't buy discipline or clarity or humility. It doesn't buy you the ability to pause and step away and reset. It doesn't buy anything that actually you need to be a profitable person. You have to build those things and hold those things within you. And if you want a step by step system to start trading like the profitable version of yourself immediately, there's a private training that I can walk you through 3 things. I'll just give them to you to stop letting one bad trade turn into 5. It's the first link in the description box. I highly invite you to come join me in there. 15-minute video. Grab a water or a coffee or a snack. Watch it while you're at the gym. It is not motivation. It's literally structural things you can do to do what I just explained in this video. And before you go, take a second and comment aligned trader below. It's not for me at all. It's for you because I want you to lock in to this mindset because you already know how to trade. So it's time that your account look like that and you start trading like the profitable version of yourself. Can you imagine taking the absolute most perfect trade and then politics or news comes in unannounced and just wipes out that trade? But you kind of just shrug and you move on, whatever. The next day, a smaller trade comes in and makes more than that first trade ever could. I'm going to show you exactly why this happens. Do me a favor and save this video to your watch later, because if something happens in the next 10 to 15 minutes and you don't get to finish watching this video, I want you to remember to come back to it. So go ahead and add it now. And before we dive in, hit subscribe so you don't miss content like this. This is exactly the kind of strategy and mindset that keeps you profitable month after month. You already know how to trade. I know that sounds insane to hear, especially if you're frustrated with losing months right now. But if you actually take 2 seconds and really sit with me, you've made winning trades before. You understand market structure. You know how to calculate your risk to reward. You know what it looks like to make money. You've literally marked up your charts and made setups, and they've worked out for you. So if that's all true, why do you keep ending the month negative? The thing is that it's not your strategy. It's not the charts. It's not needing more money or more leverage or more margin or more deposits into your account. It's legit only how you show up as a trader. And I want to give you a real life example. There was a trade that was absolutely perfect. A plus setup. Everything was aligned, like A through Z. And the risk management was dialed in. The entry was perfect. And then political news happened and the setup was invalidated. The trade wasn't wrong. I didn't make a mistake. It was invalidated by something I can't control. And so I shrugged and I didn't panic and I accepted it. I didn't try to win the money back. I just moved on. And I only found out that it was political news later that night when I just so happened to be talking to a friend and I was like, oh my gosh, Trump is crazy. Literally no lie. The very next day, a trade that was a third of the size made me over 300% gain, which was more than that trade I made the previous day could have ever made me. And it was only because I was mentally aligned. I wasn't trying to fix anything. I didn't let my ego take over. I simply was trading the rules I know that work. And that's the first lesson. And by the way, there's no trade that's safe from a misaligned trader. You can have a A plus setup and still mess it up. So you actually don't need a perfect setup or more leverage or more fancy tools. What you need is clarity, discipline in the right way, and the ability to trade like the version of you who already has the profits. And I'm going to walk through exactly how to do this in this video. And I want you to think about it in this way, right? Think about your most profitable version of you who never ends the month in red. Think about the version of you that is watching the video right now. What's the difference? I'm going to tell you, both versions know the same strategies. You both know the same risk management. You both know when to step away. You both know all the knowledge there is to be known. There are small to learn along the way, but for the most part, if you made profitable trades, you're fine, right? The difference is the behavior of both traders when the market goes against you. Do you spiral and let one trade turn into 10, or do you pause and wait and treat every trade like it's its own trade? And it's the fact that you can actually get yourself to behave like the profitable version of you right now, today, as I'm speaking to you right now. It's not luck or magic, it's literally awareness in action. It doesn't have to be airy fairy. You can literally grab a sheet of paper right now and I'll walk you through it. I want you to write down 10 things you already do currently in your trading. And I want you to write down 10 things you currently do correctly. And here's some example. You know how to read market structure, high probability setups, you know where your stop loss should go, you understand position sizing, you've made a profitable trade before, you know when to walk away, you know when to do good risk, you know how to manage your mistakes, you know how to check the news, all that. Great. You made the list. I want you to look at that list of 10 things you just wrote. Pause the video if you need to. Is that list literally not everything a profitable trader needs? So if you already have all those things, why are you not profitable? The truth is that profitability is not based on knowledge. It's only based on alignment. And until you start acting like the version of you who's already profitable, knowledge is just information. The knowledge in your head is not going to turn into dollars. The knowledge in your head is not going to turn into results. And that's what most traders miss because you're focusing on a setup and the next trade and rules, and you don't focus on becoming and maintaining the trader who naturally executes properly every time. And that is exactly what we're going to fix. That is what I fix on my channel. So subscribe if you haven't already. Once you align your behavior with the profitable version of yourself, all of the things you don't want to do disappear naturally. The revenge trading, the chasing the candles, the forcing the trades, adding more money into your account, blowing your account, and all that stuff, right? But what happens is you start to follow the setups you know that work, and you build a consistent compounding mindset that keeps you in the green. And the catch is that your account cannot make you profitable. You make the account profitable because money doesn't buy discipline or clarity or humility. It doesn't buy you the ability to pause and step away and reset. It doesn't buy anything that actually you need to be a profitable person. You have to build those things and hold those things within you. And if you want a step by step system to start trading like the profitable version of yourself immediately, there's a private training that I can walk you through 3 things. I'll just give them to you to stop letting one bad trade turn into 5. It's the first link in the description box. I highly invite you to come join me in there. 15-minute video. Grab a water or a coffee or a snack. Watch it while you're at the gym. It is not motivation. It's literally structural things you can do to do what I just explained in this video. And before you go, take a second and comment "Align Trader" below. It's not for me at all. It's for you because I want you to lock in to this mindset because you already know how to trade. So it's time that your account look like that and you start trading like the profitable version of yourself. Making money is not the same thing as being profitable. And why aren't you profitable yet? It is not your strategy or not having enough knowledge. It's how you act when the stakes are real. And in this video, we're going to discuss this so deeply. Do me a favor and save this video to your watch later, because if something happens in the next 10 to 15 minutes and you don't get to finish watching this video, I want you to remember to come back to it. So go ahead and add it now. And before we dive in, hit subscribe so you don't miss content like this. This is exactly the kind of strategy and mindset that keeps you profitable month after month. You already know how to trade. I know that sounds insane to hear, especially if you're frustrated with losing months right now. But if you actually take 2 seconds and really sit with me, you've made winning trades before. You understand market structure. You know how to calculate your risk to reward. You know what it looks like to make money. You've literally marked up your charts and made setups and they've worked out for you. So if that's all true, why do you keep ending the month negative? The thing is that it's not your strategy. It's not the charts. It's not needing more money or more leverage or more margin or more deposits into your account. It's legit only how you show up as a trader. And I want to give you a real life example. There was a trade that was absolutely perfect. A plus setup. Everything was aligned, like A through Z. And the risk management was dialed in. The entry was perfect. And then political news happened and the setup was invalidated. The trade wasn't wrong. I didn't make a mistake. It was invalidated by something I can't control. And so I shrugged and I didn't panic and I accepted it. I didn't try to win the money back. I just moved on. And I only found out that it was political news later that night when I just so happened to be talking to a friend and I was like, oh my gosh, Trump is crazy. Literally no lie. The very next day, a trade that was a third of the size made me over 300% gain, which was more than that trade I made the previous day could have ever made me. And it was only because I was mentally aligned. I wasn't trying to fix anything. I didn't let my ego take over. I simply was trading the rules I know that work. And that's the first lesson. And by the way, there's no trade that's safe from a misaligned trader. You can have an A plus setup and still mess it up. So you actually don't need a perfect setup or more leverage or more fancy tools. What you need is clarity, discipline in the right way, and the ability to trade like the version of you who already has the profits. And I'm going to walk through exactly how to do this in this video. And I want you to think about it in this way, right? Think about your most profitable version of you who never ends the month in red. Think about the version of you that is watching the video right now. What's the difference? I'm going to tell you. Both versions know the same strategies. You both know the same risk management. You both know when to step away. You both know all of the knowledge there is to be known. There are small nuances you'll learn along the way, but for the most part, if you make profitable trades, you're fine, right? The difference is the behavior of both traders when the market goes against you. Do you spiral